Okay, good, you're gone. So, this video, I will be highlighting small business restaurants. Why? Well, as I said in previous first Exploring Laval video, for the past, well, sorry, my throat just woke up. For the past, well, I guess you could say few months, but especially so in the past, well, 1 month since leaving Ottawa. I could say, at least from my perspective, my videos have been rather, I guess, depressing to some degree. You know, with how much I comment on capitalist dictatorship, authoritarian policing, cultural degradation, psychological disorder, trauma, economic disparity. I talk a lot about general mass violations of human rights, which persist at a continuous rate in societies across this planet. But, well, today, and not just today, I'm not, over the course of today and the next few days, I will be showcasing what I feel to be it's a good way to word this. Shining lights of hope and some amount of communal beauty and support, I guess I would say, amongst all this bullshit. And why it's going to be over the course of a few days is because I'm not that stupid. I'm not going to eat. How many restaurants am I going to showcase for the most part of this video? What, like, maybe 7, 8? I'm not going to eat. This isn't going to be a mukbang challenge. I'm not going to do this all in one day, is what I'm saying. I'm not going to put myself into a food coma. Alright? Not just also for myself, but for my wallet. As I am, though I have my philosophy, and I'll explain that more later in this video of, well, going there to lose money over there, and so on. Well, I still am somewhat cautious with spending to some degree, even though I consciously don't try to worry about it so much. So, yeah, I just wanted to state that. Right now, I'm towards the western half of the Pont-Veilleux district, which in the video I made of when I went inside a Cité de la Santé hospital in the northern and northeastern end of the city, I pronounced it Pont-Veilleux, but apparently when I had a conversation with the police, who told me I had to vacate from the park I was in the next morning, when I told them, well, what my plans were, because they asked, said I was headed down to Pont-Veilleux, but they corrected me, it's pronounced Pont-Veilleux. Well, as the word, pretty sure the name originates from the Quebecois French language, obviously. But, thing Thanks, fly, for landing on the bridge of my nose. I'm in the eastern end of Pontview, which is also where I shot the last video, me showcasing what I thought to be an actual example, a genuine, beneficial example of social anarchism, in showcasing it in practice. But anyway, it's a very, 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 oh my. That was actually a good high note for once. I do say so myself. Anyway, it's a very, very nice morning. I think these geese could agree with me on that. Just chowing down on, I guess, whatever small vegetation and grubs they can find. This specific little concrete divot I'm in, well, it's clearly abandoned, but here, actually, let me show it. So it's right next, it's situated right next to the Prairies River, and right over there is, well, Montreal Island, and a suburb, well, actually either a suburb of central northern Montreal, or it's a park of some kind in central northern Montreal. And this area is definitely either a local hotspot for just, well, random folk in the community to get wasted, drunk, high, and spray paint and tag various things on, well, this little concrete wall up here, and what I think is an electrical fuse shed, potentially. I'm not sure. I tried opening it, but it's locked. Or to some degree, it could be affiliated with gang activity in the area, tagging the actual, well, concrete to indicate territorial markings, which from some of the symbols it looks like it could be the case. Again, I don't see any exact tags that I recognize in terms of what I know to some degree of gang markings, or just general, not even technically gangs, but just, well, symbols associated to different crime syndicates. But one thing I'll say is a lot of these are very, very well designed, in my opinion, especially that portion over there. I don't know who did that or what group of people painted that along the actual edge of one of the pillars here that's holding up the bridge's structural support. But they must have had to either go out in, like, say, either a paddleboard or paddle boat, or a canoe, or just some sort of floating device, or maybe they just hopped right in this somewhat shallow portion of the river and just started painting. Then again, I don't think that one is more likely. I think the first is More probable considering, well, the current of this portion of Prairie River is rather, well, as you can tell, rather violent. Even so much as right over here. Oh Lord, and hopefully that was not me about to find out how violent it was. If I lost my footing. This is where I camped for the night. And I don't think any animal fiddled with Cardi B here last night. The wind might have just blown a bit of their tarp over. But nonetheless. As well as these markings, which definitely seem to be, unless they're just initials by some local folks, these seem to be affiliated to some sort of gang symbol. Just from the looks of it, design-wise. But maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Nope. Even this little lock is tagged. Okay. So I'm gonna pack up before hopefully no one in this area has reported me. And hopefully if any police cruisers have passed by here, they haven't seen me. And they're going to swing back around and tell me to vamoose. Considering this area is highly patrolled by cops, unfortunately. So I'm just going to get packing up. And yeah. Okay, let me do that. And then I'll get to showcasing the restaurants. Alright, so first stop is Elo 100 which is it's a fusion restaurant, serves fast food, which is actually surprising to see because I haven't seen many small business fast food chains, what's considered fast food here in Laval, anywhere I've been. But it's a fusion between a certain amount of what appears to be Lebanese and or Turkish food cuisine mixed with Canadian style fast food and American style fast food as well. And it's at the corner of Paris Avenue, Paris, and Cartier West in the Pont-Vieux district, right next to the public library and well, a bridge that goes over the train tracks that I showcased earlier. Okay, yeah, let's go in. Okay, so I ordered the, well, I guess it's the main advertised sandwich. It's named after the restaurant, the Elo 100's DeWitch. So, the Elo 100 sandwich. It has chicken, pickles, I believe it has cheese in it, and onions, I believe. It smells very good. And I also ordered a crepe, or a Nutella crepe. So, yeah. Aesthetically, it's very much Americanized in terms of design. There's a lot of very nice artwork along the walls. I'm interested. It's really jammed in there. Just see if I can actually open open this without breaking it. Wow. It looks amazing. But again, I care more about, obviously, taste and purpose of it to consume it than I do about appearance. But just from a presentation-wise standpoint, it looks incredible. So, obviously, for me personally, I've had Turkish food before and Lebanese food, but I've never had it in, well, I've technically never had it in fusion with more standardized Canadian dishes as well as American dishes. So I'm very interested to see what it actually tastes like. See if I can hold this correctly. That is amazing. It's got a slight smoky flavor, but it's very mild. This almost tastes like it's probably because of the seasoning. I think this is that's Burberry. Some amount of Burberry. It almost tastes like a more dry Dorito. Just the artificial powder on the Dorito, but this is not artificial. Very clearly. That's incredible. In terms of braces, in terms of fusion restaurants, I've only been to, well, I've worked in one in Ottawa, the Taiwanese Chinese fusion restaurant. Also in terms of the Chinese cuisine, it was a fusion of Szechuan provincial cuisine and Shenzhen cuisine. Mainly, Cantonese cuisine, food common to the city of Shenzhen. But including that place, I've been to, I'm trying to recall. Here, give me a minute. Oh, my memory recall right now is very blurred. I guess my sleep wasn't as great as I thought it was. I want to say 3. I've been to 3 fusion restaurants in total in my life that were mainly overall fusion themed culturally. 2 of them. want to say, two of them being here in Laval. The other two. Than the place that I worked at. So, yeah. Let me finish this and then try the crepe. I don't know where I was going with that. I felt it was necessary information for you to know, but I just thought it was. So, the sandwich was delicious. Incredibly. And so is this crepe. It's very thin and very airy. Something I've noticed since being here in Laval and and eating around is that crepes, which are highly common in European French culture in terms of a breakfast dessert option. Well, technically, I guess it can be both. Just traditionally what it's eaten as. But this is an element in Quebecois culture that is very much carried over from, well, Franco traditions of Europe. Those crepes are very common in many restaurants, even if they're not predominantly Quebecois culturally themed in terms of cuisine. As well as, obviously, poutine. Poutine is highly common throughout Quebec. It's a staple of Quebecois cuisine. Like, it's the main staple dish. In fact, I don't think many people know that poutine, which is considered the national dish of Canada, I don't know what geocultural index that's designated by, I'm not entirely sure. But poutine is the Canadian national dish, and that's a Quebecois dish, the most well-known one out of all of Quebec. But back to crepes, they're very common as well. If I can cut through this with one hand. No, I can't. Well, you don't need to take a bite of it. I don't know why. This first section of the video is starting off with not very vital information for your knowledge.
Was good?
It was fantastic, thank you. We're slightly illegal.
Yeah, this is good. Thank you. Have a good day.
Doesn't see if you don't mind me asking, how long have you guys been open?
It's been, the place has been open since like 1 year. But me and my buddy, we just bought it like 2 months ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it still the same theme?
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Nice.
Just the owner switch.
Is it fairly popular?
It's coming bigger and bigger.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Glad you enjoy it, bro.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You as well. Okay, so next stop is restaurant Belle Province, which seems to be a diner of some kind. I'll find out once I actually get inside. It's at the intersection of de Salt, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and Quartier West. So it's along the same road as Alu 100 de Witch. So, let's go in, shall we? So, I ordered just an all-dress chicken burger and some fries. Mainly because there was a line and first I went to use the washroom, and when I came back it was a little rushed because, I was just trying to pick whatever I could that was relatively cheap and as quick as possible, as I didn't want to cause any issues. So, aesthetically, the place is very Quebecois, cultural inspired. So I was correct about that. And food-wise, it's also predominantly, they serve Quebecois cuisines, including variations of poutine, but they also do have some shawarma dishes, so some Mediterranean / Middle Eastern inspired dishes. Yeah, I'm trying. So I just bit the lettuce that was on the toothpick. Now let me actually got the damn burger. Wow, that's hot. Ow. Holy cow. That's once again fantastic. That's even better than the other restaurant, Alo 100. Just from that first bite alone. Holy hell, that's incredible. These fries don't look like they're very, fried. They're not, they're very thin. In terms of, fried grease coating on the potato. Very, very good. So, but one thing definitely. So this is definitely authentically made, Quebecois style food. And obviously this one that I ordered is, it's a chicken burger. It's common in various American cuisines as well, and other, especially in rural Canadian cuisine too. So obviously it's not, the chicken burger is not just distinct to Quebec culture, but in terms of incorporating it with other traditional foods, it's a part of it. But I will say though, I don't know if you might have taken a bit of notice, but if you could tell, the vegetables are definitely artificial. Well, not artificial, but definitely more from, say, a big corporate grocery store such as Mart or Metro, or maybe IGA. I think it's called the other major grocery store here in Quebec, or maybe Adonis. I think Adonis has food products, but it's very clearly, processed to some degree. which I'll talk about more later on in the video. But either way, despite that, not only have they managed to make it taste incredible, but it's made authentically in terms of style and how it's prepared. At least as far as I can tell, and from what I saw while I was standing at the counter, just watching the process from the other side of the kitchen. So, it's very, very good. I'm greatly enjoying it. Alright, the last stop for today is Tandoori Palace, an Indian-themed restaurant that's at the corner of 70 Avenue and Cartier West, again. Also, I should point out, in this entire area, these few subdivisions going east, I guess the city just ran out of ideas for street names, so they just started numbering the roads. And actually, there's an Armenian pizza shop right next to this restaurant. But I will check them out tomorrow. For now, let's go in here. Okay, so as you can tell, it's rather busy in here. I ordered I believe it was called Aloo Gokai. Aloo Gokai. It's a vegetarian, actually, it's a vegan dish made with cauliflower and curry, and I believe there might be rosemary on there. No, that's not rosemary. No, I believe. I'm entirely sure. You know what? I'm not even gonna bother to try because I don't know what other flaked vegetative spices on there. But there's also onions and ginger and tomatoes in it. It looks bloody delicious, as well as with naan bread. And I think there's butter on it. Oh, one sec. Sorry, the straw, the paper covering just blew off the table. As well as you can tell, speaking of the straw, mango lassi, which I could not wait to drink, so, well, there you go. I drank some of it, because I'm a gluttonous bastard. As well as, for dessert, I ordered, megoil? Okay, you know what, I can't even remember I know the other half of the name began with a G, but, it's rice pudding. So I guess I'll be bringing that out last. So I'm gonna eat this and just see what it tastes like. That's the whole point of this. Alright, so all of it, you guessed it, is delicious. It's incredibly well made and obviously authentic. And it doesn't seem like, unlike the restaurant I went to before this, the Québécois themed restaurant, that there is any sort of artificial flavoring in here, or any sort of heavily corporately manufactured or modified ingredients that are, like, say, just bought from a mega large retailer of groceries.
Oh, and the taking a bite of this, I quickly found out the spice that's on the green plant spice that's on top of it. It's a mint. It's mint leaf. And again, it's delicious. So, looking at the menu items and also just aesthetic of the general place, it seems to be much more Northern Indian inspired, like Northern India culture. They're culturally like influence, say, like from New Delhi or I need to look on a map again, brush up on my geography. I forget if I know India used to be called Hindustan long before the English colonialization of the country. But I believe there's a state in the north, and it borders Pakistan in the north of the country, and also is by Kashmir. That I believe it might go under the pseudo name Hindustan or something else Hindustan in there. But either way, it just generally seems to be more Northern Indian inspired and Kashmiri food as well, from what I looked at on the menu, because I recognized some names that were common in Kashmir culture. But I didn't see a lot in terms of, say, what I know of cuisine from Southern India. Southern Indian cuisine tends to be a bit more spicy in terms of like flavor added and ingredients used than, say, Northern Indian food tends to be a bit more mild. And also, Southern India, there's a lot more I believe a lot more meat products, especially from what I know, lamb is especially more common in Southern Indian cuisine, as well as peppercorn in terms of the spices. So, yeah, and cow, but in terms of meat in the north, cow is, all across India, cow is common. No, what am I talking about? No, that's wrong. No, because cow is protected in certain states. No, sorry. That was completely culturally inaccurate. My bad. I was thinking of... Pretty sure there, I was thinking of Thailand. I think I was thinking of Thailand. No, in India, cow is a sacred animal. The Hindu religion, Hinduism, cow is a sacred animal. So, and in certain states in India, it's actually outlawed to prepare cow in dishes and farm them. Overall, there are states though that, from what I know, that do allow that. But I know lamb for Southern India, and I guess I don't know what meat I was trying to think of for Northern India, but just back to what I was saying, the general aesthetic of the place is more Northern Indian themed. But sadly, it does seem to, given the general area, from certain residential housing developments, condos that are in southern Chomedy, it seems to somewhat cater to an elitist crowd to some degree, and in terms of the aesthetic and design of the place, almost to a point of over-exotification of the culture. Almost. But not entirely. But again, still fantastic, and they clearly put a lot of effort and a lot of care into making the food. Very clearly. Okay. So this will be the last place for today. And then I'm going to find a place to sleep. Most likely in a little wooded patch sandwiched in between two very expensive condo developments. And tomorrow, I'll head back out, search for more food to consume. Okay, bye. You'll see me again once I try interviewing the owners of the establishment. Chicken. The meat was chicken for Northern India. What? And it's also common in Pakistani, especially like curry chicken or curry chicken soups and that was my fork, and butter chicken. Like, why did that take me so long to think of? And yes, butter chicken, a common Northern Indian dish. So the meat product that I was trying to say that was culturally common was chicken, and in Pakistan it's usually butter chicken rolls in terms of butter chicken served with sauce and on naan bread. It's well, it's more common in Pakistan than India. But either way, I don't know why that took me so long to think of. There you go. It's chicken. And just for good measure, here's the rice pudding. Looks delicious.
بتشرب الشيء صار تشرب الشيء تطلب مسألة تمام هاي بيعمل لي لا
Two chicken biryani, lamb biryani, chicken biryani, two lamb biryani. Two lamb biryani. You speak Hindi? Okay, ठीक है. Two lamb biryani. Two lamb biryani. Two, lamb biryani and two naan. So garlic naan कर दो. No. ठीक है. Spicy करना है कि no? No. आपका नाम? Paul. और आपका फोन नंबर? 514 How long? इसको लगेगी 25 ठीक है yeah 4 minutes yeah sure okay maybe I come in 30 minutes 30 minutes okay I come in 8:15 okay thank you bye bye
Ask as many questions as I want to, but good enough for now. Alright, it's the next morning, or well, a little bit past morning, and I'm outside of La Maison Savane, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and it's an Armenian pizza parlor. I've never had any Armenian food before, and I've certainly, at least to my recollection, never had Armenian pizza. I know of certain, well, ingredients that are common in Armenian food, but I've just never tried it. So, first time. Also, take notice. Return of the ripped jeans. I have not worn these since last fall. Then again, I might not have picked the greatest day to wear them because a rainstorm possibly is blowing into town. But whatever, I'll deal with it if it comes pouring down. So I don't know if you can tell from that quick little clip I shot in the actual restaurant, but there was no place to eat in there. It's just a takeout parlor. But what I got was spinach and cheese, some mushroom pie, as well as chicken, and just a standard spinach pie as well, and I think it was a signature house style pizza with actually they didn't say what spices are on it, but it's spicy. And also got this fruit nectar. It's not a specific one, it's just a blend
of various ones, and it's a product of Egypt. So immediately what I'm noticing off the bat is just in terms of the style, in terms of the food preparation and presentation, it's culturally very similar to Northern African style pies, in terms of, say, like, because they sold za'atar pies as well, and certain meat and cheese pies. So culturally, it's very similar to things such as would be common in Algerian and Tunisian and Libyan cuisine, in terms of how breaded pie pastries or with dishes are made. So that's very interesting. And though some amount, it seems to be like this one. I can never get it out. It's cut a little differently than, well, what I know of Northern African style bread pies. So it's an interesting little touch. That might just be their style, like the restaurant specific style of, well, design, how they mold their crusts in the dough, but I'm not sure. I know in Armenian food, breads are very common, just overall, as well as in Georgian cuisine as well, on the border of Asia, in far Eastern Europe, Georgia and that whole region, part of Eurasia. Georgia borders Armenia and Azerbaijan. So, yeah. Well, as well as, oh shit, there was another one that's culturally very common in that section of Eurasia. Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey as well, and Georgia. And also that half of what I would think would be that half of southern Russia. If I'm not mistaken, Chechnya in Russia, the Russian oblast, Chechnya. Oh wait, no, it's a republic in Russia. It's a Russian republic. Chechnya, I believe, is also geographically close there, but I'd have to look on the map of Russia again. I've really got to brush up on my geography, just in terms of mapping as well. But well, you know, the ingredient will come to me later, as it did with Tandoori Palace in Alaska. Let me try this. Once again, that is fantastic. So this is the chicken. A minute. So this is the chicken, and well, it has a bit of light spicing to it. So chicken and spice pie. It's very mild in terms of spice. Oh, and it also has some amount. Oh, yes, some mushrooms. Actually, can't even really taste the mushrooms. It's very subtle. Damn, it's not good. For a second, I thought I bit the paper. Well, if I did, let's hope my stomach enzymes work. Break it down. That's fantastic. They had some sweets in there as well, looked like Armenian sweets, which I've also never had. But, what the hell? Okay. Someone just driving down the road in a... Looks like a Russian style... It looks like a military transport truck. Like you'd see in a convoy. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, they had some sweets in there as well, but I didn't end up purchasing those because, well, you know, I thought I'd get a bit of a hold on my sugar addiction. As much as I can. I don't know if anyone can tell, but I've sadly had a bit of a relapse with it in a major sense recently. But, well, I'm doing the best I can with it. So this is the spice pie. This is the... Is it meat? No, I think it's just a vegetable paste and the spice. Let's see if I can actually detect what spice it is. Oh wow. That's some crispier crust. I'm waiting for the spice to hit me like full force. I don't want to say that's not spicy, then all of a sudden be like, whoa! Okay. Maybe it isn't that spicy. Or maybe I'm just used to certain hotter spices. Or maybe they just forgot to put the spice on. One way or another, that is still delicious. So for this one, it definitely tastes like, and from what I saw in the restaurant, that unlike restaurant de Belle, or Belle, I think it's pronounced Belle, from yesterday, that was the Quebecois, culturally themed one. These, the Indian restaurant and the Armenian restaurant, so far, they use, it seems to be, they purchase more of, like, not majorly processed or corporately farmed, factory farmed ingredients for the most part, just from what it looks like and tastes like, it appears, which is fantastic. But as you know, in this economic system, often those are far more expensive, which is usually why these places cannot, well, either A, if they were wanting to be expansionists, can't afford to, or, which I'm morally against, but if, just saying, if they personally did. But also, which is a contributor to mass financial struggle overall in terms of keeping the facility actually running. I'll explain more about that at a different restaurant, because, well, right now, got up only about maybe an hour ago from my tent, and damn it, I'm hungry and would like to enjoy this, as well as I think I will finish the naan bread, or the naan, sorry, why did I say naan? The naan. I still have some naan bread from Tandoori Palace in my backpack that I took out with me after I was done eating. So, yeah. I'll get to that later. Fuck you.
Here we go, my. That's it? 7.9, please. Thank you. You're happy? Have a good day, my dear. Thank you. Bye. Suivant, bonjour madame. Fromage? Deux chauffés. Ok madame. Fromage, deux chauffés. Oui, bonjour madame. Oui madame, toujours madame. C'est votre première fois?
Non, mais la dernière fois, c'est le.
Mhm.
Une, c'est bon, mais l'autre, c'est attaché.
Ça c'est normal madame. C'est normal, c'est fromage. Si tu le mets ensemble, puis tu le mets comme ça, un par-dessus de l'autre, lui en dessous, parce qu'ils sont pesants, lui en dessous, le fromage, il va coller sur le fromage. Ça c'est normal madame. Bonjour mon ami.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Je ne connais pas français.
Sorry?
You speak English?
Yes, of course, my friend.
Sorry to bother you. I was actually just curious to know, how long have you guys been open around here?
38 years.
38 years?
Yes.
Wow. Has business been rather good? During this day?
Sorry?
Has it been rather... Have you seen a lot of business in it?
Of course.
Nice.
I'll be back. Give me 2 seconds. Voilà, madame. Besoin d'un sac ou ça va comme ça? Ça marche. Bonne journée et bon appétit à vous, madame. Ça me fait plaisir. Yes, my friend.
Just like, that's the only convenient restaurant I think I've seen in all of Laval. Are there others?
I don't know if there is any.
Well, you seem to be doing quite well. The only one.
Yeah.
Is there a high enough demographic sort of there to that?
What do you mean?
Well, like, is there a higher populace of Armenian immigrants?
In Laval, yes.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, have a good day.
You
Thank
too, my
for
friend.
Thank you for the food.
Thank you. You're welcome, my friend. Take care.
You too.
Damn, I had other questions I wanted to ask him. Slipped my mind while I was in there. Alright, I'm more into the center of Chomedy now. And I just stumbled upon this restaurant called Sud de Crebe, or Sud de Crab. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right in the slightest. Restaurant Fritz de Meer. It appears to be a seafood-themed restaurant. I have no idea what cultural aesthetic or anything that it's, well, trying to represent. Yeah, why not this place? I'll give it a try. Alright, so I just went inside, and it's, well, I got inside, I guess I could say. And it seems to be more of an Eastern Canadian themed cuisine restaurant, very much obviously seafood, things that would be found on the east coast of Canada and are typically caught.
And if you can see the menu up there, they have what I ordered was crayfish, mussels, they might have scallops as well, lobster, snow crab, which is $60, and then there's another crab up there, a mixed bucket of different crabs. That's $73 freaking dollars. So it is quite pricey. Oh, and I didn't mention in the last clip, I paid about $20 for the Armenian pizza, the pies. But this looks, well, delicious. It looks incredible. So they give you a bucket, obviously, for the shells. They also provide you with some gloves, just so that, I guess, it doesn't make as much of a mess on your hands, and a bib. I got a plastic bib that I did tie around my neck, and they served it to me. They brought it out in a bag, in a plastic bag, and had all the mixture of sauce and spices and the corn and potatoes, because I got it with, you have the choice of corn, potatoes, or rice, and I just chose, you have to choose two of them, so I chose corn and potatoes with it, and they dumped it all out in here. And it also looks like there's oh yes, it looks like garlic cloves, chopped garlic cloves on the crayfish. So yeah, I'm obviously not going to film myself taking a bite of this. I'm going to just chow down on it and yeah, just enjoy it. I love, okay, in accompaniment with, I've mentioned here and there, of trying to follow more of a pescatarian diet, I love shelled, I love shellfish in terms of seafood. They're delicious. Crabs, lobsters, and I haven't had crayfish since I lived in the United States, in Fargo, so I'm somewhat excited to try this. Well, as you can tell, I very much enjoyed it. Very much so. But I unfortunately made more of a mess than I would have initially hoped to have done. Sorry, fellas, I kind of dismembered all of you, all of your corpses, beyond recognition. But at least, well, you didn't go to waste. So, incredible food, incredible, and this sauce was also incredibly tasty. I know they use pepper in it, and definitely there looks to be, what it would be, jalapeno flakes in there as well. I think that's what it is. It was damn delicious. Fantastic. But I am not full yet. Oh, this is interesting. A traditional Lebanese restaurant right next to what, literally 2 units down in terms of leasing space, right next to an Armenian and Lebanese fusion restaurant. So there is also another Armenian restaurant in Laval, or at least even in this part of Laval. Huh. Interesting. Which is next to a pizzeria. There's also a sushi place over there, Japanese cuisine, called Asuka Sushi, but it's unfortunately closed. But, you know, well, I already had Armenian food today, so, and even if it's fused and mixed with Lebanese cuisine, some amount of Lebanese cuisine in terms of the ingredients used is a bit heavy, at least for me on the stomach at points. It's a lot, but yeah, so I'm gonna try and just find another place with different style cuisine. Nothing against Lebanese cuisine, it's delicious, but just not today. Maybe another day. Okay. Another Lebanese fusion restaurant. It's a fusion of Lebanese and Egyptian food. And it's also a shisha and cigar bar. I have never seen a shisha bar in Canada before, in any place that I've ever been to. Not once. Huh, okay. Well, again, I've had Egyptian food before. It's also delicious. But, again, a little too heavy for me right now, considering I just had seafood. So, I'm going to keep moving that way. But I will, in the days after this, come back to this portion of St. Martin and, well, make my choice between the three of you. Interesting, literally 3 competing, in some form, Lebanese-style restaurants right next to each other. Don't see that often. So, I guess from sociological observations, I can make the concrete assumption that there's a high population of Lebanese immigrants in this area. I can deduce that because literally right across the road, I just noticed another it seems to be entirely Lebanese-themed restaurant. Well. You again. You're cropping up everywhere across the city. But I'm not going to focus on you in this video. I'll talk about, well, what I've been, I guess, investigating about you in the next video. Okay. Le Vinte. Wait. I don't think I said that right either. It's right next to a Slovakia-themed restaurant, which I think, well, for this specific one, it's Greek food, what I looked at on the map. And unfortunately, it's right next to Bada-Bap-Bap. Okay. Alright, let's try you. So, I'm inside the diner slash... Well, actually, okay, I don't know what that other word means. Déjeuner, or déjeuner. Which also, I guess I should correct right now. For House 265 from Exploring Laval Part 1. I guess that wasn't the name of the restaurant, obviously. Déjeuner diner. It was just stating that it was something, maybe a restaurant and, well, specifically a diner. I don't know what the name of the actual restaurant was. But maybe I'll find out once I investigate it more. But I ordered French toast with walnuts and honey. And they also put powdered sugar on it. And my God, does it look delicious. As well as a smoothie with spinach, strawberries, bananas, and orange, obviously, and I think there's also oranges in it. And another fruit that I cannot recall at the moment. But yes, this looks freaking fantastic. I am going to very much enjoy this, I think. I've never had French toast with honey before, nor have I had any other soft breakfast pastry, or more, I guess, English-style breakfast pastries with honey, like pancakes or waffles. Well, waffles come from, well, they're Western European, but I think they might have originated in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. I think Germany lays claim to that, because I know Belgian waffles are in a specific different style than, say, the more, well, what's common in the West, Americanized waffle styles. But anyway, yeah, let me actually try this stuff. Okay. So, this takes the cake for easily being the best breakfast I've had in the whole city of Laval. It's 4:30 p.m., but breakfast item that I've had in all of Laval. It's surprisingly, it's not incredibly sweet at all, even with the powdered sugar, which is seems to be the only artificial item on here, because it's clear that they used actual, like, pasteurized honey. Like, it's here. It's not this, like, thick, it's actually, like, loose. It's not this thick paste that you can find at most of the mega grocery store branches. It's actually, like, very, for honey, it's very watery. And the walnuts are very, well, they're crunchy, obviously, but they're, I'm trying to think, obviously they're not smooth. What's a good way to describe fresh and what's a good way to describe good walnuts? I don't know. They're nuttily-tastic. That's what I'm gonna go with. Nuttily-tastic. That's whatever. I don't care. It's just damn delicious. And this, that might very well be the best smoothie I've ever had, because that definitely doesn't taste like there's any refined sugar added to it. It's very loose, just like the honey. It's very light. Unlike, and even though other restaurants here in Laval that I've had smoothies at, they've been fantastic in terms of taste, and they are authentically made in terms of, well, stylistically, and the traditions associated with making, well, smoothies, depending on what culture it's from. Even though they're authentically made, unfortunately, most of them have put in some amount of, like, refined sugar or maybe a sweetener. Not this one. So, it's fantastic. I wonder if I can hold the camera better. Oh. And they used sesame bread. So, what I said yesterday in regards to, well, certain restaurants, certain small business restaurants, having to use, well, general store-bought ingredients from heavily expansionist and farm, heavily manufactured ingredients in terms of, like, produce or vegetables, just bought from any number of the mega corporate grocery retailers. So the thing is, well, why is that? Well, the simplest answer is financial subjugation and exploitation, as far as I'm concerned. See, even in, say, restaurants, small business restaurants, that aesthetically, in terms of like design, try to keep a more of a fancy, I guess, decorative feel. Just they try and keep up a more seemingly lavish or prestigious, I guess I could say, feel. There are many that still use some amount of artificial or highly processed ingredients because, well, most of their finance goes into actually maintaining the establishment of facilities, not even, and not often paying, I don't mean paying the workers, I mean often to actually keeping care of the actual facility itself, paying for the electricity, for running water maintenance, central heating, decor, and paint jobs, structural integrity of the actual place. So, and on top of that, if it's being leased out in a certain building development that's already privatized by, say, a landlord, there'll be, most often, as many landlords are, they'll be heavily taxed. I guess I'll say heavily, well, they'll have to pay a lump sum every month, every 2 months, to keep utilizing the facilities. And on top of that, federal, provincial, municipal taxes, or depending on where you are in the world, state taxes. So, yeah. That's why there are certain small businesses, in terms of restaurateuring, that unfortunately can't afford to buy from, say, local farms closer to their cities, on maybe the outskirts or in the closer rural countryside, or if the restaurant is in the countryside, just local farms to their general area. Most often because those said farms, because of the same reasons I just listed, have to actually, and payments to real estate companies, depending on maybe if it wasn't leased out and they actually purchased the property, the owners of the establishment themselves, well, then payments have to be made for that, because ultra-capitalists will be ultra-capitalists, and they'll try and wreak as much financial hierarchy and havoc on the tenants as possible, unfortunately, most often. So, because of all the things I listed, not only is it incredibly expensive to buy from small business farms, because most often within this economic political system, capitalism, they end up charging high amounts in pricing for their own materials and their own goods that they provide, from livestock to vegetable growth, just general agriculture, like agricultural work, in terms of what they sell from what they've grown or the animals they farm. It costs they charge a significant amount to actually, well, keep up with their own bill payments, as they're getting wrecked by mega corporate landowners, real estate agencies that buy up, have control over pretty well all the land in the world, in terms of, well, how expansive the large ones are. So they end up charging up a lot, so the restaurant industries, or say small business grocery retailers, if they aren't run by the farmers themselves, because there are farms in various countries all over the world that actually just sell their produce as they have the farm, and then next to it, or maybe down the road, they'll have their own grocery store. They'll have a small business farm fresh grocery store that they just run on daily or on weekdays, and sell their own produce from there, still though at a more expensive price than mega expansionist grocery corporations. But so it costs a lot for the restaurateurs to purchase from. And if they're not making enough profit in terms of, well, what they see in terms of customer walkthroughs, in terms of the door, and just, I mean, general profit margins for being able to pay for that, well, then most of the finance that they earn goes towards maintaining just the actual facility. And unfortunately, because in an indoctrinated belief, there are also those who are owners of small business restaurants who do that, but then also put a larger portion of the earned payment towards their own paychecks, and not as much their workers, because they think, oh, well, that's just what you do. And that's not saying all, it's just certain ones. And I don't mean like an extensively large amount more, but a certain portion more, that they think them as CEO of the business means, okay, well, I can just increase my pay a little bit over the workers I hire. But, well, that's why, unfortunately, there are, despite how aesthetically and in terms of maintenance, the business might be very well kept, or it might put on this very flashy exterior. That's why the food might be more processed in terms of, well, production. But not this one, except for the powdered sugar, obviously. And even if it was, it's still incredibly well made. I'm going to enjoy this and then move on to a different restaurant later in the day, and then find another place to sleep for the night. Hopefully it does not start pouring.
that for the dinner, like the breakfast we do is like a regular restaurant, but at night is very different, and the owner really has so it's started, you know, like he's like the 3 month builder. Nice day. I hope you enjoy it. Good. That's good.
Again, by chance, do you know where the closest public library is?
Closest, I don't know. I'm not from here.
Oh, it's okay. It's alright.
You're not from here?
I'm not initially from Laval.
Huh?
I'm not initially from Laval.
Okay. You're from Montreal?
No, I'm from Toronto.
Okay, you just moving doing a trip or something?
Oh, yes. Something so
Okay. What you doing? Doing a trip?
I'm a bit of a nomadic traveler.
Okay. Just with this your bag and
My bag and my wife.
oh, okay. Okay, I was there. And the closest library, okay, I'm about one. It's 5 minutes. Oh. But if you want to walk, you can walk. So, not so long, one back and go there. And 5 minutes. So from here, sure. Straight. Straight. And on the, and you turn left on the street. On Boulevard Chaumet, and it's full of 9. Okay. We're on the Russian media is 1535. So straight and put Russian media on the way. 1535. Okay. Okay.
Well, this is rather depressing. I can't obviously completely understand what the wording of that sentence means, but I can take a guess just from the thematics of the painting, what it stands for. Well, good job to the artist who painted the mural. But sadly, well, at least it still stands here, and it's a part of the community. That's all I'll say about that. So, good afternoon of the next day. From when I had shot, well, the last clip. So, change of plans. I decided to not visit another restaurant yesterday because, well, I was getting to the point of being full, and it occurred to me later in the night as I made my way down this road to find a sleeping arrangement and, well, go to a public library just to charge my devices and look up some things on the internet. Well, for the past 2 days, it's very clear to me that I have been overeating, and it's been causing some amount of overflow of nutrients, or too much absorption, it might seem, of nutrients that very much has been affecting my psychosomatic neurological problems. So today I'm only going to go to 2 places in, well, the afternoon right now, and then later in the night I'm going to attend that shisha Lebanese / Egyptian restaurant because it's open till 3 a.m. And there's also another, there's a cafe that's down a ways, which I'm not going to go to today, that is also open way late into the night. I believe some days they close, during the week they close at 2 a.m. and maybe 2 nights of the week they close at 1 a.m. But right now I'm going to go into Cafe Coin de Delice, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's this small business cafe, from what I looked up about it when I was in the public library. That's right in, well, it has its unit, renting unit in the building structure of a lower income apartment complex next to a convenience store, it seems. And just to clarify, right now I'm on the edge of the St. Martin district to its eastern half, bordering the downtown area, the southwestern corner of the downtown area, and I've been sleeping in said portion of the downtown right next to Laval City Hall, which I'll talk about in the next Exploring Laval video. Almost called it Exploring Ottawa. First, as well, in this set of abandoned housing units that I shot in one of the clips before this, I also just want to showcase this mural here, because, my god, that's also fantastically designed. And it really is a shame that, well, most of this area is condemned. Same with this one here. It's very intricate, and I almost ran into that pole. Good going, Cam. Okay, let's get inside here because it's starting to pour a bit heavier in terms of rain. Okay, I know it might look somewhat like a lot proportion-wise, but listen, from my observation, you know, just shut up. Don't, shut the hell up, okay? Okay, it's been a long year, you know what, nearly a year since I left Toronto, so be quiet. This looks fantastic yet again. So I got quiche that I think has spinach, egg, obviously, onion and mushroom in it, and some pasta salad, as well as mochaccino. And it looks absolutely delicious. Other than the, well, obviously fake Schmucker's style chocolate sauce, but either way, it's still very much authentically made. In terms of aesthetic, it seems to be, it's very much a mix of various, well, cultural cuisines. French, American influence, Quebecois dishes too, I noticed on the menu. West Coast Canadian, West Coast American style food. Some amount of, over in the dessert area, Syrian sweets, as well as Turkish and Lebanese sweets as well. And salads, there's Greek salad, I think, as well. And just typical garden romaine salad, so, as well as with the pasta being Italian food, as well as mochaccino. I believe mochaccino actually originate. Well, mochaccino might be Italian-American originating, but either way, it's culturally just very much a mix. And it's definitely a place that seems to be making ingredients, like, from scratch for the most part. There are some, obviously, packaged goods they sell from other, producers, but for the most part, it seems to be made from scratch. So, let me try this. Once again, it's delicious. Especially the quiche. It's a bit more firm, but it's very, very flavorful. If you can't tell by this point, I'm not much of a food critic, alright? Look, when it's just the exhaust fans going on. Look, when it comes to just nutrition, food in general, I've said this before, and it doesn't just relate to food for my philosophical beliefs, but anything. I care more about the purpose of something than I do its appearance. Absolutely. And in regards to food, I care more about its purpose than how it tastes or its aesthetic appeal. Now, obviously, if it tastes good, that's a bonus. And if it looks good, that's also a bonus. But nutrition is the most important thing in food, or if not, here's an interesting thing, actually. I know there's a debate, obviously, between medical professionals, or just those in the healthcare field, of recommendations for what is better for you to consume, what's not better, properties and compounds that they have, how they affect your physical health. But something that's not as much talked about, which I think is equally as important, is emotional stimulation from foods, and not in an attempt at, say, conscious absolvement of trauma or just general psychological distress. Not that sort of... Not in that sense. I mean, in terms of experiencing sensualistic pleasure, in terms of... Well, it won't be a good word to use for what I'm trying to describe. It's the same way I feel towards sexuality in terms of sexual entertainment. I'll go with the word euphoric for now, euphoria, in the sense of enriching pleasure, I guess, is a good word. I don't know. I don't think I have the right wording to describe it right now. But I think you know what I'm trying to say, is I think that's equally as valid as, say, well, heart health, obviously, in terms of things that are good for your arteries and the cardiovascular system, your physical nervous system, in terms of, well, neuroregeneration and protective compounds to your neurons, your skin health, gut digestive aid, all things of the sort, and ocular senses. Now, obviously, in that regard, I don't recommend, obviously, as a neuroscientist, I don't recommend you go eat two 2 or 3 poutines or chili cheese fries a day. Obviously not. That's not good for your physical health, and that's also, in that regard, it's not going to be good for your cognitive and emotional health once the physical health issues start kicking in if you continue along that routine of consumption. But in terms of once or twice a week, or just on off occasions for emotional satisfaction, then I think that's genuinely beneficial. And I'm again making an emphasis on not in terms of, say, habitual addiction to various substances, including food, in terms of, say, like binge eating or binge drinking or an alcoholism of the sort, or as I suffer from sugar addiction. Not in an attempt at a conscious and or subconscious attempt at trauma absolution or absolvement. So, yeah, that's my excuse for drinking something like this. And it's damn good. There's a little too much milk on this one for me, and the syrup kind of gets in the way, but it's still really damn good. It's interesting, last night actually, I have my belongings, my gear, my tent, and Cardi B is, well, they're just stationed in a small grass field, pretty well. Field patch that's on the edge of the downtown area, that it's in between the district borders of downtown Laval and St. Martin. And as I was setting up my tent last night in the dark, after dragging Cardi B behind a patch of trees and shrubs so that I wouldn't be visible from the main road, as the area is heavily patrolled by police units, and so is this area. Once I started setting up my tent in the dark, I heard a rustling behind me, about maybe like 7 or 9 feet roughly behind me. And I was like, what's that? And at first I thought, oh crap, is it a person? Am I on privatized land? Well, if not of a company of the municipal government, one way or another. But I was like, damn it. Are they officers? And I turned around and it's like, nope. They're animals, but I could only see like faint shadows in the dark. They were scurrying back and forth the few feet behind me. And so I got out my flashlight on my phone and shined it in their direction, and it was 2 rather large raccoons. And normally I'm completely fine with raccoons being around me, as I was with Randall the raccoon, if you remember when I was staying in Crow's Landing over last summer in Ontario at the cottage. But well, sometimes raccoons can be a little, from what I know of them, territorial. I was like, oh damn, am I in their territory? Because both of these raccoons, once I shined the light on them, they got up on their hind legs and were just like looking at me, and they weren't making any noise. They were just sort of staring and scurrying back and forth while keeping eyes locked with me. And I was like, well, I'm not a zoologist and I don't know typical behavioral patterns for raccoons when they're going to be more confrontational with someone. Not in the sense, and obviously they didn't have rabies, which I know the behavioral patterns of animals when they have rabies, because it's a neurological virus. But they didn't have rabies. Very clearly. They were way too agile if they were infected with rabies. They were way too agile for if they were infected with rabies. But so, basically, I pulled out my fillet knife that I have with me, because I don't know where my switchblade went. And I was like, hello guys, I would like you to please stay away from my campsite. I wasn't threatening them with it or anything, I just had it out in case they tried to charge at me. Which most likely they wouldn't have, because I guarantee they were more afraid of me than I was of them. So, I basically just said, I don't want to deal with you guys. Do you want some food? Because I had, if you recall, I had some amount of the naan bread left over from the Indian restaurant that I went to 2 days ago in my backpack in a paper Tupperware that's decomposable. So I pulled it out and was like, okay, here's a peace offering. I throw this to you, you take it, and then you leave me alone, please. So I threw it, and it barely went 2 feet in front of me. I was like, fuck. So then I went a bit closer to the raccoons, and I picked it up and I threw it again, and I barely got it further again. I was like, damn it, again. And I was like, okay. I got very close to them, like maybe 3 feet, if I'm recalling correctly, in the dark, from where I was shining the light, and I was like, okay, this is the last time I'm throwing it. So I threw it, and I was like, yeah, it actually went the distance that I would have liked it to go. And then I backed away, and saw that the raccoons pleasantly went over and checked it out. And then I finished setting up my stuff, and I quickly threw all my belongings into my tent. I was like, okay, good night, and dove it. And I slept very peacefully. And in the morning, before coming over here and before going to the public library again for the first half of, well, when I woke up, to further charge my devices and review my theories that I have printed off in my backpack and my diagrams, I noticed that it didn't look like they ate any of the naan bread, because the Tupperware paper container was still intact and in the spot I had left it. So maybe they'll be back tonight, but I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna finish eating this and then head just up the block, like a few units down, to what I believe is a Moroccan bakery. So, alright. Well, I just noticed that at the intersection, and well, that, from what I know of it, isn't usually a good sign. So, Casablanca Pasturier, or Casablanca Mahalaba. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. It's a pastry shop. I'm going to go in there. It's a Moroccan style pastry shop. And let's hope I can actually eat inside.
réduction de confiture là.
لا لا لا.
لا.
Well, sir, what do you need?
Oh, I was just browsing around just to see.
Sushi? No?
I guess I'll just take one of these.
You? Why? How? 1, 2, 3, 4. When? What? Yes? Right?
Just some of these.
السلام عليكم.
Just one of these.
How? When? لا عندي ما كتمشيش. ما عندك غير اللي هو الخبر ودير فيها. ويمشي طيب.
One of these. And this one is
تمشي.
this one.
$6. عايز يمشي. اوكي.
That's it.
عليا. Merci. Bonne journée.
C'est pas comme- Oh, it's so much for eating there. Okay. 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 Alright. Sorry again. It's raining relatively. Do you mind if I these? Thank you. Alright, so I ate the Moroccan sweets. They were delicious. You didn't need to see me consuming them. What I got was, so there were these things I'll put in some directions whenever I edit this together. There were these yellowish little, I thought they were buns when I got one of them, but apparently it was they were cornmeal cakes. They were these little circular cornmeal cakes, and it was delicious, the one that I got. It was not sweet at all. Well, yeah, for the most part not sweet, but it had a slight little tanginess to it, and it was very soft with a little bit of crispiness to it. It was very, very delicious. And then I had an almond butter cookie, and it had a bit of caramel in it, which was also delicious. And then I think, from the looks of it, they look to be more of maybe a Moroccan version of, well, a French macaroon, which I'm not surprised by, like, in terms of their own style of baking it, which I'm not surprised by, considering Morocco and a lot of, well, northwestern Africa was colonized by the French. But it was pretty good. It was definitely made with some artificial ingredients, but it was still relatively good. And the other one I got, there was this, it was basically a ground peanut butter cookie with a thin little dough bit surrounding it. And it was sort of, just in terms of it kind of, did not realize that bus was that close. It was almost like a mix between Syrian baklava, the little baklava sweets that are sort of like a crumbly, they're usually pistachio paste mixed in a thin crust with pistachio toppings and a bit of light syrup coating. It was almost like a mix of that and Nigerian chin-chin, which are fried batter cookies, which I had when I was in Ottawa for the last few days that I was there. Anyway, it was delicious, and I'm thankful to the cafe owner who let me just stay in there while it was raining heavily just to eat them. But anyway, and I didn't end up interviewing either of, well, the employee who was helping me at the bakery, and I didn't interview the cafe owner because, well, they were busy, and well, when I was leaving, they were attending to things, and when I came back, they were eating, well, their lunch, it seemed, so I didn't bother. But I'll quickly explain why in one of the clips before this, I said in relation to the red shoes that were on a power line just down at the other intersection, why that's typically in urban areas not a good sign, for those who don't know. I forget, and I tried looking through some of my previous videos. I don't recall if I briefly mentioned it or explained it in one of my last Exploring Ottawa videos or one of my other commentary videos. I can't recall, so forgive me if I reiterate certain things, but I'll definitely try and go in a bit more depth right now about what it is. So if any of you recall my 11th part of Exploring Ottawa, when I went to the Northern Vineyard Ghetto, while I was there during last winter, walking through the main section of the neighborhood, well, I came across some shoes strung up over an electrical power line. So, and I didn't know what that meant. But once I got back to where I was primarily staying in Ottawa for my time there, I did some research on it, and well, it could mean a few things. One, it could just be local teenagers or just some people on about who are just wanting to be a bit, I guess, well, it could be social deviance, or just to for some amount of something to do, boredom, entertainment, whatever else, just have thrown some shoes up on a power line. There's that option. But the more likely option is, well, it relates to a gang activity. Mainly, it can signify where, in terms of drug dealing, where a distribution house or building is for the sale of said illegal substances, if, well, for the ones that are outlawed, if they're being sold. It could symbolize a territorial marking, same as, like, say, spray, like graffiti tags can signify the same thing. Or it could signify a murder, which apparently the first one, drug dealing, and the last one, a killing, are usually the two more likely ones. So that's not good at all. And it's, in terms of, well, cultural elements, in terms of ideological culture that is practiced in terms of gang activity, or even just other versions of certain underground crime syndicates in cities. It's more commonly practiced in, well, in North America than any other part of the world. But, so, yeah, that's not good. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the public library. Just do more research and chill until later in the night, where I'm gonna head down to that shisha bar. Okay.
So I'll pick this up again when I do that.
Okay, I am back at the Shisha restaurant. That's the Lebanese and Egyptian fusion place. It's called Amda Fatir and Grill. I think Fatir might mean bar in Arabic, but let's go in and just order food, because that's what I'm gonna do. What else am I gonna do? God. Alright, so I ordered a egg and barbacha wrap. I don't know what it's, some sort of spice. I don't recognize the name. But and it's not Burberry. But and also there might be some a meat product of some kind. It looks like it could be just well, it might be bacon. I'm not sure. But also water, just typical water, and it comes with pickles. And I also ordered some mint tea. Oh, well, I might be bringing it soon. So I'm just waiting on that. And aesthetically, it's, I don't know if you can tell, some, well, it is more of just, I guess, a general lounge design, but culturally it's very Iranian, or mainly inspired by, well, cultures across, well, the Persian Peninsula. But yeah, okay. Let me bite this, as I usually do with food. Okay, so you guessed it, it's fantastic. It's incredibly well made. And that is definitely not bacon. I don't know what meat product that is, but it's not bacon. I can somewhat taste what that spice is, but it's not. It's very, very mild, right? Slight tang. It's not spicy in the slightest. But it is damn good. And those are damn good dill pickles. I don't typically like dill pickles, believe it or not. I much prefer, personally, sweet pickles. Taste-wise, but again, obviously, as I said earlier, care more about the fact, what it does. Its purpose. So, you can obviously tell they're blurring a lot of Iranian rap and hip-hop music, as that music genre has actually been growing in high popularity in recent decades. Well, in the last decade in Iran, especially in underground indie music, from what I know. And an underground rock music scene is emerging in much of Iran's metropolitan areas like Tehran, Malaysia, the city that begins with an M. I can't remember the name, but I believe it's the second biggest city in all of Iran, as well as underground rock scene emerging in Turkmenistan, but it's not near as popular in Turkmenistan as it is in Iran, especially amongst younger generations. But anyway, this place is
pleasing to me. It's actually, I think I could say it's the most aesthetically appealing to me, I guess, out of all the places I've showcased in this video so far. The lyrics of the song are a little subtly sexist, but well, maybe not. Can't exactly hear it. Maybe. I don't know. I think I should just take the time to talk about something here that doesn't really relate to, kind of, I guess. I've found that I've been, in recent times, especially since being here in Laval, I've been finding myself getting a lot more cross with people in general. And I don't mean like majorly aggravated. External. But being a bit more direct with certain things, and more Sorry, I completely just forgot that reality existed for a second. Anyway, damn, that instrumental beat was good. Anyway, I've been getting more, not snippy with people, but just more calmly, vocally irritated. And that relates, and I don't mean that in like just for benign nonsense. I mean for genuine, as far as I'm concerned, genuine things that be healthy to express irritation, aggression towards. So, like, the, oh. Let's see. They just, they brought out
the mint tea. And I guess I have to pour it myself, so I'll do that. Just to detract for a minute from the point. Well, that was more of a mess than I would have hoped to make. I think no, you're not supposed to hold that down. Oh well. Wow, that is piping hot tea. I haven't sipped it yet, just you can tell from steam coming off it. Anyway, what I mean by that is, in regards to everything I've done over the past year now of me having left Toronto, Ontario. Everything I've experienced, everything I've observed for myself, analyzed, my theories and implementations I've proposed for the broader field of science as a whole. And with my existential / morality crisis still persisting, I've gradually gotten to a point where I'm having less and less and less time for, to put it bluntly, people's bullshit. I'm getting to a point where I have little to no time for it. And I mean that in like I don't mean that in a dismissive, well, that is a dismissive behavioral tendency. I don't mean that though in a complete dismissive sense. I mean that in a sense I care about it. About the detrimental shit that people do. I do. It's not good for their health and it's not good for the people around them as far as I'm concerned. But I'm getting to a point where I don't hold back vocalizing that I have a problem with this as much as I did in the past. Now, in the past, if people in my life can attest to this, if I was pushed to, I've been pushed to extreme conscious apathy, extreme anger, and very much vocal agitation and aggression at many intervals in my life when it may or may not have been needed. But I'm getting to a point where I don't let it. One thing I think, psychoanalyzing myself in terms of self-reflection, I think the reason it would get to that point, that's so often, or it would get to a point where I was screaming like bloody anger, is because I wasn't expressing my actual true problems with things regularly in the past, and that's when it would just build up to this explosion of fury. As a result of continuous psychological enactment of the apathetic response for me in relation to my 5 subconscious desires. So, and I don't want to, and with that, though, because I'm aware of it, clearly, I don't want that to get to a point, though, of this, of passive-aggressive, passive-aggressive personality disorder, or constant just higher passive-aggressive tendencies, or very or just or more narcissistic tendencies. Obviously not. Or egotistical tendencies. I don't want to bleed in further into that realm of personality. So in that regard, well, I try and be mindful. It's healthy to present the anger, obviously. I'm not just going to shut up on something that I feel is morally wrong and problematic, at least. Well, I always say that, but then it seems that constantly happens. I try not to, at least. But there are very clearly healthier ways. I've learned that I can express aggression than just an explosion. But even when someone makes me the most riping mad, and very, very much, in my opinion, is deserving of hearing this anger and how much they've upset me. I still think there's a healthier way of, I now think there's a healthier way of doing so than complete furious vocal anger. And in relation to that, that also goes in part because I care about those who are detrimenting me. Because I have empathy and sympathy for those who have attained trauma and further psychological disorder that has disrupted their own moral values, or it has shaped their moral values to some degree. That relates to my sociological theory of the unempathic, unsympathetic cycle of conflict. Because as far as I'm concerned, my extreme aggression really has only reaffirmed to most people who try to oppress me or combat what they see as me being a problem to them. It's only reaffirmed their conscious apathetic response. It's only reaffirmed it in their eyes and from their perception, cognitively. So, I think there is, point being, I'm finding myself getting a lot more blunt, not blunt, more direct and more passively calmly agitated with people. In more of a beneficial way, I guess. So, yeah, that's that. I don't really know what's some of that. Oh, something I should mention back to the restaurant in relation to this place. So, it's interesting. It's very much more Iranian culturally inspired. But the sign says Lebanese and Egyptian, specifically fusion restaurant. The menu didn't even really look like it had many more, what's more common in Lebanese and Egyptian food from what I've seen. More of just Iranian food, plus that of more, I guess, well, Mediterranean to some degree, so that includes Lebanese food, and obviously northern Egypt borders the Mediterranean Sea, and culturally it has similarities to some degree. But that's, That's interesting. So the sign of it. Maybe they have, well, menu item, a separate menu for it, but I don't know. This doesn't seem to be the main cultural theme of this place. It's very much predominantly Iranian. I don't know, but I'm not complaining. Obviously not. There are fantastic elements of all various national and regional cultures and ideological cultures which form out of ideologies. However, unfortunately, there are also detrimental things about them. But, well, right now I'm taking the beneficial parts of those cultures in. Whatever, I don't know. Damn, that's good. Okay. I think for all the other restaurants I do, for the most part, until I get further down into central St. Martin, I'm just gonna show like a few clips of me quickly trying the food. I'm not gonna talk about them much. I'm just gonna get footage of them and then just quickly showcase them. Just because I don't want this video to get longer than what is common for my content. Okay. So, see you in the morning. One more thing, actually. So, this is just well, I guess a little message for any of you very much incredibly toxically masculine, homophobic, very domineering cis men out there. You know, you and I may politically and philosophically disagree on many things, morally too. Disagree on many sociocultural practices, behaviors, specifically sexual practices and romantic interests. But the one thing that you and me can definitely agree on is that ultra dominant alpha male boxing matches, UFC, those ones. One thing you and me can definitely agree on is that they're very much the pinnacle of true masculinity. No weak men nonsense there. No pussy, squeamish, prissy, pansy action there. Absolutely not. It's the pinnacle of what a real man does. And there is absolutely, without a doubt, no homoerotic / bioerotic poses or displays that go on in it whatsoever. Person. God. See you tomorrow. Good morning, or again, good afternoon. It's 2:05 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I'm closer towards the center of St. Martin, and I decided to stop by this cafe called Moonlight Resto Lounge, and apparently it's another shisha themed restaurant. Instead of being a bar this time, it's a cafe. So I don't know if you've been able to tell throughout a large portion of the footage for this video, but there are always sirens going off in this area. Frequently. Sadly. Okay. So let's go inside. Holy hell, I was not expecting it to be this much, but that looks damn fantastic. So I ordered a plate that so the main course of it is a kafta, which is a meat product that's common in much of more Western Middle East, so Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Iraq, and Kuwait. And I also just got a standard Italian cappuccino. But yeah, it comes with, or the dish here comes with hummus, ketchup, circle cut fries, which are also ripple fries, they look to be, and more, I guess, Lebanese style salad. So, as well as some spiced pita bread. So, I'm very much looking forward to eating this because I am hungry. Very hungry. Well, as you can tell, I thoroughly am enjoying it. very much. And aesthetically, it's, well, just in terms of, like, general design, it's very, well, bland. There's nothing really, there's no real, like, extreme decorations or anything, or really any decorative pieces at all, which isn't a bad thing. That's not, I'm not criticizing that in any sort of I'm not trying to imply that that's a problem. It's not a problem. But point being, this is delicious. So yeah, you can't tell there's a soccer game playing. I think it's playing on the TVs. I think it's, I don't remember the exact name. The African Continental Soccer League. I think it's where it's specifically countries from within Africa solely competing. I don't know what country it's held in Africa, but I think that's happening at this time of year, if I'm not mistaken. So, okay, I know I said I wasn't gonna make as much commentary for the places I go to over the next few days, but I'd just like to I guess talk about quickly a bit of my ignorance, something I just learned. So when I looked on Google Maps for when I was trying to locate various restaurants within this area of the St. Martin district, I found this place, Moonlight, and it said hookah cafe, hookah, and I had heard that before, and similar, well, I knew it was similar to shisha, or at least what I thought previously, because when I initially learned about the traditional smoking plant, tobacco plant of shisha, how culturally it's very common in Western Asia, specifically, more so. I'd also, and this was many years ago, I'd also, over the years, come across the name hookah, and I had recalled when I had initially researched shisha that I had thought that hookah was another type of, well, medicinal smoking plant that was common in southern Europe, mainly in the Mediterranean, or more so in the Balkans. But apparently, I just found this out, that's not correct at all. Hookah is actually, well, it's the smoking device, or the traditional, the common smoking device for shisha. What the plant is, well, the essence of the plant is compacted into, and I obviously don't know the mechanism itself. However, from what I'm seeing here, I'll flip the camera. I don't know if you can see, but it's a long pipe with some fluid in the bottom that boils, and it also has some coals on the top. And, well, obviously it has a pen and a tube. Merci beaucoup. Just finishing off the cappuccino. It has a pen and a tube at the end of it, or protruding from its body. And from the looks of it, the hot coals, the rocks that are heated on the top, that the cafe attendant has just been going around and refilling for people once they cool down, and they seem to have a burner in the back that they're keeping them on. I could maybe make a guess as to maybe the reason why it's an elongated, I guess, funnel type shape. Well, not really a funnel, but why it's so elongated at its why a majority of its metal body is shaped like that is probably, well, maybe it's because the coals send heat down through the actual pipe of the body to the fluid in the bottom, which may have the shisha essence in it, or extract, and it heats it, and that's what causes it to boil when it's actually inhaled, when someone's smoking. But that's just a guess. I don't know the ins and outs of the design of the thing, but I learned that hookah isn't a different type of tobacco product that is smoked or medicinal plant. It's the actual smoking device for shisha. But I do know that, and I don't know what it's called obviously now, I'm going to have to try and find out. I know that in Southern Europe, there's some sort of herb that's smoked traditionally, culturally, in that region, that you also use a pen for. It has a pen of some kind, and I think it does also have it's placed into some sort of tin device, and it may, obviously, probably has a tube attached to it of some kind that you, well, inhale. But, well, obviously I don't know what the actual plant or substance is called. So yeah, I was wrong about that. Hookah is not a separate plant. Medicinal herb, it's the device used to smoke, shisha. So, learn something new. Okay, on to the next restaurant. Yeah, so I should probably mention, this place that I was at 2 days ago. No, it's not called Vintage Hut, however I pronounced it before. It's called Galleria de Jour Dinner. Also, I think I might have figured out what de jour means. It might just mean, well, diner obviously means breakfast items, just in terms of what they serve, but de jour might mean they're also available for dinner options. That's what I'm thinking, but I should probably just look it up online, just to confirm that. But, so, the name is not what I had said it was, just to clarify. So, the next place is another bakery. It's a general Middle Eastern themed bakery, from what I've looked up. It has a variety of sweets, mainly Syrian, Iraqi, Iranian, Saudi Arabian, and I think as well Turkish sweets. Just a variety of Middle Eastern style desserts. Yep. So I'm just going to get some stuff in here. And interestingly, I noticed this yesterday, it's located, one, right next to another Japanese sushi bar, kind of like the one right over there, as well as what I believe is a Romanian-style deli mart, or more specifically, a Transylvanian cuisine, or maybe deli meats that are commonly sold in the Transylvania region of Romania. So, but, well, I'm not going to stop in there to get anything, because, well, I just had some kafta meat, so, yeah, let's go in here. Shove off! Yeah, eat the Ruffle chips. You're not getting any of these. Trust me. I will fight you to the death. So, these look incredibly enticing. So when I went in there, right off the bat, they gave me a free sample of baklava, which is this. Syrian baklava. It's delicious. Not too sweet. This, oh, I forget the name of this one. This is also a Syrian sweet. As well as being common in Iraq. This, I believe, is an Iranian batter cookie of some kind. And I have no clue what you are. You're filled with something. You might be filled with either chocolate or pistachio paste or both. As well as Turkish fig bar. And these are chocolates. Well, they're chocolate cookies of some kind that have some amount of, again, it looks like a dusting of either mint, some kind of mint flake, or pistachio on it. And I don't know nationality-wise where you originate from. And this, I believe, is a Pakistani sweet. Now, if it's what I'm thinking, I may not... No, it's not what I'm thinking, I don't think. There's a Pakistani sweet that I had in Toronto, and it's in the shape of a ball. And taste-wise, it was very sweet, it was very delicious, but texture-wise, it was horrendous, in my opinion. I hated it. The texture made me want to throw up. It was like I was biting into a sweet syrup-coated tomato, and a very scraggly tomato at that. But I don't think that's what that is. But I'm pretty sure this is still, though, a Pakistani fried sweet covered in syrup. So, I feel I'm going to very much enjoy this. I am a very happy camper right now. So, being a sugar addict, but also loving various damn seagulls, loving various foods from across the world. I love Middle Eastern sweets, especially Iraqi, Iranian, Kuwaiti, and Afghani sweets are incredible. And Afghani food is my favorite cultural food in the world out of all national cuisines that I've tried. And my God, these are incredible. These cookies. Authentically made, and it's clear that they use actual real ingredients for the most part, not artificial amounts of them. This is the best Turkish fig bar I've ever had. Barely sweet. But it's got a nice little crunch to it because I think it's actually made out of ground up sesame seeds and a little amount of cane sugar in terms of the crust surrounding the fig filling. That's amazing. And that batter cookie wasn't just entirely a batter cookie. It had date paste inside it. It's incredible. But let's see. Possibly the Pakistani sweet. I want to see if you are what I think you are, or if you're not. Well, you're crunchy. I did not expect that. Okay. Like a slightly more oily donut ball. They're not the same. Actually, it might be. It might be the same thing, just made differently. But if it is, I much prefer this. Alright. Go away, let me enjoy this. Well, Yasmin El Champ, you are definitely a champion. I don't know if that's what Al Champ means in, I believe that's supposed to be just an English translation from a name from Arabic, but you're fantastic. Okay, last stop for the day, Restaurant Minot, which apparently I just went into another restaurant over in this plaza here, which I'll come back to tomorrow to try their food, just to ask about where this restaurant was located, because on the map it's a different name. On the map it says Chesnedin Ener, but apparently they changed the name of it. And over here,
Pourquoi vous filmez ici?
je ne parle pas français.
Hein?
Je ne parle pas français.
Qu'est-ce que tu parles? English?
Oh yes, I speak.
Yes. Why you take a picture here?
Oh, I'm not taking a picture. I'm just a vlogger of sorts.
Let me see.
Yep.
شوف لي لشوف عم ياخد صور هون.
لا لا. You working for the construction? You working for here for the construction?
Where are you from? From Toronto.
Well, that was an interesting little encounter. So, just to clarify, nothing aggressive happened. Obviously, one of the people who approached me from the restaurant took my phone and they stopped the recording. So I'll explain why that happened. So, firstly, apparently, that's not the Haitian restaurant that I was looking for. Apparently, Chezinedine and Rear closed down, according to a local person who I spoke to after the incident. And that's a different themed restaurant. They didn't tell me. I asked them if they were the restaurant, but they didn't tell me what kind of cuisine they made, but they mainly only did they were a reservation restaurant for like engagements and large parties and things like that. Anyway, so the owner of the restaurant and I think one of their workers, one of their staff tenants, walked out because they saw on the camera that I was recording the place, or I was holding my phone to either take a picture or record it. So they approached me and asked why am I doing that. And then they just, took my phone. And obviously, I didn't put up a fight with it. I just said, okay, here you go. So they told me that, they asked why I was recording, and I said that I'm a vlogger of sorts for YouTube and things like that. And they asked what was I doing here, and I was just, touring the area. And they asked, where are you from? Because they could tell, I didn't have a Quebecian accent. So I said I'm initially from Toronto, and I'm just a traveler right now visiting Laval. Like, oh, nice. And so they just asked how old am I, and I just said 19. And so they said, okay, we saw you pointing your camera at the building on the cameras, on our security cameras. And the only reason we came out to basically just to interrogate you is because if you look over here to the glass of the front portion of the restaurant, there's a black board up across where one of the panes was, because apparently someone, and I guess going on what they saw from their security footage, someone who appeared to be of youthful age threw a Molotov cocktail through the window. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And they're like, yeah, no, it's not good. That's actually been happening a lot around here recently, apparently, they said. That multiple different restaurants and stores have been having windows shattered because people are throwing Molotovs through them. No, like, and they didn't even say like it was just them who got Molotoved. Multiple different restaurants have been apparently going by what they're saying, and now I'm going to research more about this, ask around about it. But if what they're saying is true, then multiple different establishments have had Molotovs just thrown at their businesses, and seemingly by more younger folk. Now, if I had to guess, unless that's some sort of communal deviant trend that's been going on around here recently, well, that might have something to do with gang activity in the area. Potentially. But I'll talk about that in the next video. So instead of, well, their restaurant, because they said unfortunately they're not open right now, and they gave me back my phone, and I said I can delete the footage if you want. And they're like, no, it's all right. Sorry. The owner apologized, said I'm sorry to have like just been so seemingly confrontational with you up front. It's just we wanted to make sure, because obviously they thought can't be too careful with what happened. So they just gave me back my phone and said I'm sorry for it, and good luck with your travels. And then we shook hands, and I thanked them, and yeah. So started off rough, but ended well. But now I'm in a Vietnamese restaurant that's right beside it, called Pho Du Zing, or Pho Du Zong. Leave it. Either Pho Du Zing or Pho Du Zong. And I ordered a banh mi. And what's a common dessert in Vietnam? It's called a 3-color dessert. I've heard of it before, but I just asked the waitress what exactly is it, meaning like what exactly is in it, because I didn't really know the ingredients. I know that it's culturally common there as a dessert, but I don't exactly know what it's made of. And they explained it somewhat. Beans are in it, I think. Maybe tapioca, but we'll see. As well as I'll show you once the food gets here. Okay, it might just be some kind of jello that's in it, as well as the beans, I think. But anyway, it looks very nice. Yeah, this is the banh mi. I ordered it with chicken. I was going to order it with tofu, but apparently they were all out of it. Looks very good. As well as, instead of water, like so many different restaurants from all over the world usually bring water, or sometimes they'll even just give you the pitcher to pour it yourself, just to start off with as a drink. But apparently for this place, they brought out herbal tea, which was different, which I've never had before. Well, just in terms of, well, I know the Iranian shisha bar that said it was a Lebanese/Egyptian place, even though culturally and aesthetically it didn't seem to be at all. In terms of like something like this with an actual pitcher, I've never had that happen before. And it smells like milk, like English milk tea, actually, to some degree. But it's definitely a herbal tea. I don't know what kind. Maybe rosehip? I'm not sure. But it's damn delicious. Okay. I'm going to eat this now. As I always end up doing whenever I go to these places, because that's what you do at a restaurant. You know, if you can't tell, I'm running out of commentary for this video when I just have nothing really to say when I'm about to consume something. This is really damn good. But I'll just quickly say. So, thinking back on it now, I've obviously eaten at a few different Vietnamese restaurants before in my life. Especially when I was living in Toronto. But reflecting back on it, from what I've tried, just in terms of taste, because again, I care far more about the food's purpose for nutrients. But just in terms of preferred taste, I've come to realize that I'm not really the biggest fan of Vietnamese cuisine overall, because, well, I guess it's just a lot of the same style of cooking, and also a little too much sourness to certain things, I guess I'll say, because there is sour sauces and broths in a lot of the soups that they use. And also mint is very common in Vietnamese cuisines, and carrots. And this banh mi has the most mint I've ever had in any banh mi before. But it's very good. It's just something I've come to realize, I guess. There's nothing wrong, obviously, with Vietnamese cuisine because of that. It's just, like, it's well made. It's very, very well made. There's clearly a lot of care that goes into it. Especially, and also just talking singularly about this restaurant. I don't know, I just thought that was something that stayed. Okay. I'm gonna let my phone charge, and then I think I'm gonna edit some of the clips together finally. Because I'm running out of storage. Nice. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to stop talking for all the rest of the restaurants. Oh, yeah. And I gave up on trying to interview the store owners, just on camera for them, for the restaurants, because also one, I'm not going to be able to fit it in with the clips, and just, I'll ask them in private myself, just about any questions I have relating to their business, and just how they find keeping up with, well, profit in this area. Okay. See you tomorrow.